Hey, were you excited about the rumored 12.9-inch iPad Air? Well, stop being excited, because apparently that's dead. Yes, I'm not joking, and I'm sure you're very confused right now, as am I, but let's delve into this, as well as some last-minute leaks regarding the release of the much-awaited 2024 iPad Air and Pro. So let's get this news regarding the 12.9-inch Air out of the way first. Shrimp Apple Pro, a very credible leaker, shared some details he got from a source regarding these new iPads, and specifically they told us the iPad Air won't look very different from the current version apart from a new landscape camera, but more interestingly, his source has only seen reference to one size option, which is 10.9 inches. Now, even the first part of Shrimp's report is a little interesting because if you're like me and keep up with the leak world 24/7 because you have too much time on your hands, you would know there are iPad Air CADs that have leaked that show a new camera module and no landscape camera, but Shrimp seems to be suggesting the opposite of that. Now, I'm honestly not sure who to side with here because Shrimp and 9to1 Mobiles are both very accurate sources, but putting their credibility aside, I'm hoping Shrimp is right because I don't care about a new fancy camera module. I just want the landscape camera to be standard across the range and come to more iPads. But let's address the elephant in the room. Was the 12.9-inch iPad Air a myth all along? Were the leakers trolling us just like they did with the Square Apple Watch Series 7? Actually, fun fact, it was Shrimp who was first to go against the leaks and suggest the Series 7 would be rounder, so it's fitting he is the first to suggest the larger iPad Air isn't a thing, but this time I don't believe him. Now, I want to make it clear I'm not doubting his credibility, but I just feel like it makes way too much sense for Apple to introduce a larger iPad Air in the range. Because whilst I've argued in the past the 12.9-inch Air is not going to be terrific value, at the end of the day, most will still be very interested in a larger iPad Air because they want that larger screen without the Pro price tag that's directly available from Apple. I mean, heck, I've been telling people since 2022 to go buy the refurbished iPad Air 4 instead over the iPad 10, but guess what? No one listened. The iPad 10 still sold incredibly well regardless, and it's simply because only a small portion of our already minuscule tech community buys refurbished products, and a large majority of consumers just want the brand spanking new product instead, even if it has worse specs. And so, as I said earlier, from Apple's perspective, releasing a new 12.9-inch Air is a win-win situation. They can recycle the older 12.9-inch iPad Pro form factor for the most part, resulting in this being cheap to produce, and most will still end up buying this over the older iPad Pro refurbished because they want the new shiny iPads, even if it has worse specs. Also helps Timothy upsell you to the new iPad Pro because those are getting more expensive, and so Apple needs to create this perfect ladder of choices that slowly creeps up in price. And so jump from $599 for the 10.9-inch Air to $999 for the 11-inch OLED Pro would be a little hard to justify, but throw in a 12.9-inch Air right in the middle at $800, and now the jump to the Pro doesn't seem too bad. These are big brain 4D chess tactics Apple never fails to implement. They want to upsell you and get you to buy the highest end devices and spend as much cash as possible. Now, Shrimp does say the reason his source believes there is only one new iPad Air in the works is because only one model is being assembled in Vietnam, so he does say there is a chance they're assembling the 12.9-inch model in another country like China, hence why his source is not aware of it, and I have a feeling he might be onto something with that theory. I mean, Ross Young, the display guru, who's very, very credible, still believes a larger iPad Air is coming, and so I would not doubt the credibility of that man. So yes, don't fret, the big boy iPad Air should still be coming. Selfishly, I really want it to happen because it would be nice to cover on the channel. Finally, Shrimp does say that whilst he's not aware of which exact color options the iPad Air 6 is getting, he does believe either blue or pink is going to leave the range. Now, I'm really hoping it's pink because the blue iPad Air 5 was perfection. They better keep that in the range or I'm gonna go into Hulk mode. But let's be honest, they are likely gonna refresh all the shades like they usually do, and so I would love to see more vibrant colors for this iPad, similar to the iPad 10. You know what else I would love to see? You subscribing to the channel, of course. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll bring you the latest about Apple right to subscription box, so please consider it. It would be appreciated. We're trying to hit our next milestone of 16,000 subscribers, so join the Saranbyte gang now. Anyways, remember how I mentioned the larger iPad Air might have been assembled in China? Well, a Weibo source, Instant Digital, does directly mention this and says that the iPad Airs that have been freshly assembled are now shipping out to various countries, and he says, and I quote, "Everything is ready." And that brings me to the source also suggesting we could see these iPads launch on March 26th, which lines up perfectly with my previous video where I covered some case listings for the iPad M Pro, and those ESR cases are going to release on the 26th on Amazon, so clearly something is happening next week, guys. I also forgot to mention in that video that the case listings do show us the landscape camera coming to both the iPad M Pros, so yes, I'm very happy to see this. Thank you, Apple, for implementing this across the range. Also, just remembered, Shrimp did not tell us much about the iPad Pro, but his source does believe it's going to be a big refresh. Wow, what groundbreaking information. But anyways, coming back to the possible release dates, Instant Digital does make it clear March 26 will be the pre-order date, and shipping dates might be a little later. This isn't surprising news because we have heard a lot about the iPad Pros in particular facing supply constraints. The OLED display is something new for the iPad, so it might only begin shipping in April, which is something Gurman vaguely suggested in the past as well. So basically, to summarize, here's what I think is going to happen. Apple's going to drop 2 press releases on March 26 for the iPad Air Pro. Now, the iPad Air I think will ship as soon as the 29th of March, since the M3 MacBook Air that recently released was available to order on the same day it dropped and shipped on the Friday during the same week. So the same could happen with the iPad Air, considering that also is a very simple spec refresh. However, the 12.9-inch Air is a new size option, and I do remember when the iPhone 14 Plus was first introduced, it did release a lot later than the regular iPhone 14, and so the same can happen here where the larger iPad Air releases a little later, but I have a feeling the 10.9-inch iPad Air at the very least will be available in stores by the end of March. The iPad Pros, however, likely will be available to pre-order on the 26th of March, but it should only be available in stores on April 2nd, and there is a good chance there are supply constraints, so if you want to get one, get your order in immediately, because I am very sure shipping dates are going to be slipping real quick. Yes, I've been ranting that these OLED iPads are pointless because they functionally do the same thing as every other iPad, but that's not going to stop the Apple sheep from lining up on day one to buy these in bulk, so yes, I'm very sure shipping dates are going to slip for this. There's also talk, of course, regarding a new Magic Keyboard with a larger trackpad and an aluminium top casing, as well as a 3rd generation Apple Pencil, so I expect those to ship alongside the OLED iPad Pros sometime during April. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.